It's time for us to head towards the west, and it is an opportunity to speak to the big stormer himself, Peter Weir. G'day, Weary. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Wayne. It's been another busy week on the farm, but yeah, we had 15 mil last night, which was just perfect for the crops that have been planted already and the ones still to go in.
Still to go in, a bit of superphosphate being thrown out by a few farmers and looking at ringing the bank manager to make sure. It's a very, very expensive business right now, but I'll tell you what, it was an expensive business for Harrow because they got out and did the job. 19-14, 128 to Nadimark, 15-7, 97, and I saw that score and I thought, gee, Nadimark has actually got reasonably close to Harrow.
Yeah, great response from the Nadimark boys after being blown off the park by Matty Butler and the Edenhope lads the week before. But yeah, it's great to stay so close to Harrow, especially down at Harrow. And I see Nadimark even outscored them in the last quarter. So that was a great sign and a great weekend for Nadimark without actually having a win against a strong Harrow team.
They kicked straight down there at Caniva. They kicked 9 goals, 8. The problem was that Narrajua Quanton kicked 9 goals, 21. It was a very inaccurate Bombers, but they bombed out Caniva Lior Cougars.
Yeah, I think Narrajua Quanton, they're a bit out of form at the moment, and when you can be out of form, you sort of find ways to keep opposition games inside, in games, and also lose matches, and they did their best to lose it with the poor kicking, but yeah, still managed to get enough just to get over the line at Caniva. Okay,
the Kalki boys came out and they beat Laharam by plenty. 16-12, 108 to the Mountain Men, 3-7-25 at Cameron Oval.
Yeah, the Kalki boys' defence held up really well there, and they were still able to kick a score at the other end to have a pretty comfortable victory. And it's worth noting in the reserves match there, flowman Steve Schultz, who's probably widely regarded as one of the best players to play footy in the area, snuck a game in the 2, so I'm not sure whether that's going to be a regular thing, Flowman, or he just reminded everyone that he's still got it with a bag of 6 in the reserve.
Short of players will be his comment. Rapanya weren't short, 27-22, 184. The only thing probably they missed is the big cricket score, 200 out of that, because they beat Taylors Lake 3-3-21. A dominant performance there by the Panthers.
Yeah, Rupp boys have had some close games, and then they've also been able to dominate sides, which will please their coach. And yeah, they're way too good for Taylors Lake, who have struggled in the early months of the season.
All right. There's been a bit of a conjecture about a bloke who come across from Minyat Matawa called Braden Ice and hadn't probably found the form that they hoped he would. Well, he kicked 10 goals and I think he might have found the form.
Yeah, I think that as a key forward, sometimes it can be tricky to fit into a side, but that would do his confidence a world of good and look for him to try and start kicking some bags against better opposition.
And Edenhope Apsley did the likewise. It wasn't Butler's 20 this time, though. It was a 26-18, 174 to Pimpanayo, 5-10-40. I think Butler actually didn't play. Is that what I read on this one?
Yeah, I didn't see his name on the sheet. I'm sure he would have kicked the goal if he did play Flowman, so he must have been resting that left boot after a lazy bag of 20 the week before.
Leather poisoning and their foot just get so sore from so many kicks for goal. Ben McIntyre had a few, as did Josh Roman and Tanner Robertson, 6, 6 and 5 respectively. Ben McIntyre is a star and's won interleague or league medals across different leagues, so he's going to be one to watch this year in the awards. What about this, though? Getting to it, our final match. It is Japara Rainbow, 12-5, 77, beating the Swifts 6-11, 47. Is that your best win of the season?
Oh, it was a must-win game for us going into the match, Flowman, and the first quarter started quite slowly. I think both teams were just feeling each other out there for a while, but things definitely picked up the tempo through the middle of the ground, and it was well fought out through there. And Charles Wild was amazing for us. His attack on the ball was worth watching, Flowman, and that really lifted his teammates such as Bailey Clark to also lift their game and provide some real contests around the ball. And yeah, it was great for him as a new player to show that sort of commitment to the club and lift his teammates. But I thought he was a clear best on ground, and Thomas Long across half back probably played his best game for the club too, so it's great to see a couple of recruits really chipping in there.
Chipping in, and the goals. Weir chipped in with 5. Kerwood chipped in with 3. He's kicked 20 for the season, 3 there against the Swifts. He booted 2 against the Kalki boys, a couple against Caniva. Laharam 5, Edenhope Apsley 5, and Rapanya 3. His consistency is a key for your club. I know that you're a key too because you're the big key forward, but if he kicks goals every week like that, you've got that second forward, which a lot of clubs are desperate to get.
Yeah, he's such a hard man to match up on, and to be fair to him, he's doing a lot of work up the ground as well, Jay. He's not just staying down in the goal square, Flowman. man. With me, he's moving up and doing a lot of work for the team further up the ground, but still managing to be dangerous on the scoreboard as well. So he's having another great season, albeit not kicking his big bag like he did last year.
All right, a great season. Talking about not so great Swifts, 1916 beat your reserves, one straight kick. Is there anything we can say about your reserves, or is it just move on to the next one, Wayne?
On to the next one, I think. But yeah, Matty Millwood, he finds a lot of possessions at that level, and he had another great game. And Hayden Jamison tried across half-back, but still was too good. Jesse
Effort kicked the only goal. That's all that I can say. That therefore the twos who were absolutely poleaxed that they're in that game. The 17s, though, this is that gets interesting because your lads are really trying real hard in this grade. They came up against the Swifts, who are recognised as one of the powerhouses of junior football in the competition. Your blokes kicked 4 goals too. In the end, the Swifts 15 goals 8.
Yeah, I think our boys put in a stronger performance than the stall lads might have been expecting, and that was helped to a couple of Dimbulla juniors coming up, with Dimbulla having the bye in the Wimmera League. And yeah, Caleb Bond was best on ground flow man, so he'll be more than welcome back next time the Dimmy boys have the bye in that league.
Oh, I reckon he will be. Jamie Eckerman a couple, along with Brady Foster too, so that was good to see the kids doing well in that grade. And finally, we go to your little ones, the 14s, and they've had a pretty good crack at it this year. They've really been one of the joys of our commentary, and they had an absolute beauty. 5-9-39 to the Swifts. 2 straight kicks, 12. I don't reckon your kids would have ever beaten the Swifts before.
No, great effort. We asked them to set the tone for the day for the senior grade flow man, and they did their bit in the morning and had a great win. And Xander Eckerman chimed in with 2 goals, and the Gould boys in Parker and Ryder had another great game in the forward and midfield. So there's some great signs there for the under-14s, and by winning that match, they're firmly a chance to make finals this year.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic if they can. Young Eckerman, as you mentioned, Xander booted 2. William Fisher got a couple. Parker Gould was amongst it. Oh, well played to Ryder Gould, and Fletcher Keller and Dustin Eckerman also got their name on the sheets. Okay, we move to what's happening off the field. And Weary, is it true that you're going to be freezing this weekend? And it's not because of standing out on the footy oval playing. It's probably because of what you're doing at the club at Rainbow at night.
Yeah, it's a great initiative. Obviously, we heard a lot about the Freeze MND, but it's really impacted our local community within the club and the wider community as early as only a couple of months ago. So it's a great chance for the community to rally behind those families and raise some funds in a fun way on Saturday night after the game to go towards research into MND.
All right. How much would you give for Peter Weir to be put on the big dunking machine and to be dunked? Well, folks, I reckon you'd have to cough up 10 times what he's kicked in goals on the footy field this year. What do we reckon, 10 times that, Weary?
Well, I think something like that might get me up there, flow man, but yeah, nothing less.
All right, nothing less than a couple of hundred, maybe 300 could be. What about 500? Somebody out there who's got a bit of extra superphosphate to go around the farm could put up 500 for Weary to go in the dunker. What about the girls in the netball? They've been going all right.
Yeah, they've been going great, and they had a great win last week against Stawell and got a real opportunity to have another win this weekend against Pimpernel and really firm their position at the top of the ladder in the netball comp.
All right, let's have a look at this week's games. Firstly, we have a look at the senior games that don't involve the local Storm. Swifts play Harrow Balmoral, your tip?
Yeah, Swifties seem to always struggle against the Harrow boys, and even though it's on their home deck, I think Harrow will be too good.
Kalki play in the Radua Quantong, and the Keys favoured?
Yeah, interesting matchup this one. I think the Radua Quantong will be keen to get back into form, and Kalki just keep winning. So look for a tight contest, and why not go for Kalki at home again?
The Sheep Paddockers will be in the truck, taking the sheep to another paddock over at a lake, and it is at the Dock Lake, but I'm saying the Sheep Paddockers are about to bust open their year.
Yeah, I think after a great performance the previous week against Harrow, they've got to take confidence into that, but Taylor's Lake would look to a game like this as one of their few chances to have a win, so look for them to bring their best footy, but I think Natty Muck will be too good.
Edenhope absolutely play Laharam down at Edenhope.
Yeah, I think if Matty Butler's back in the team, he'll add some goals. But if he's not, the McIntyre boys know how to win games of footy, and they'll lead their team for a win against Laharam.
Yeah, they're shaping up Edenhope Apsley as a real threat for the top two, the way they're playing. Canova and Rapanya, this one over at the Cougarland. The Rupp people get a bit of a trip to make over there to Canova, but I reckon they'll have a pleasant one on the way home. The battle of the other big cats, the Panthers and the Cougars.
Yeah, I think Canaiva would have enjoyed their last 2 weeks in the District League. They've been more than competitive, and to have another home game, I think they'll draw some real confidence. So Rapaniup will have to take their best football over on that trip, Flowman, but I think they will, and I think they'll be too good in a closer game than expected.
All right, let's head to Rainbow and the dunking machine. But first, the footy in the morning. The kids that wipe the dew off the oval. Pimpernaya have always had really good kids. Can the Storm win?
I think in the under-14s they will be a cracking game. The Pimpernaya boys are about 3rd or 4th on the ladder, and our boys are just about 7th, knocking on those final spots. So look for this to be a great game to kick off the morning.
All right, what about these 17s?
I think Pimpernaya boys, top of the ladder, they're too strong, which is really great for their club, who are struggling a little bit in the senior grade. So there'll be some real talk, I'd imagine, at Pimpernaya about whether they bring some of these 17-year-olds up to play senior footy or whether they let them enjoy a dominant season in their under-17 grade.
Any inclusions from yesteryear? We've heard about Stevie Schultz coming back for Cowkey. I mean, is Rock going to front for a reserves game?
Well, Rock has been at training a couple of times, Flowman, but his name's not on the team sheet this weekend. And, the way he trained, he'd be still a great addition in the reserves, Flowman. But, we'll just wait and see whether the Rock comes back for another game of footy this year.
All right. I think they might get rock and rolled by Pimpernaya there. And what about this, though, the senior game? Well, my mail is that there's a big knee injury to a key forward, so we may see Jay Kerwood kick a lot more goals this weekend.
Yeah, I think Jay will enjoy me being out of the game. I did hurt my knee against Cowkey, and it's just a little bit early in the season to try and carry injuries, Flowman. So I'll have this week off. But the boys are looking forward to a home game against Pimpernaya, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of style of game they bring. Knowing Clint Pedetti's a pretty flamboyant player who likes to win a lot of the footy. So I'd say the boys are going to play an attacking style of game. But by being attacking, it can open you up going the other way, and the Japarra Rainbow boys will look to capitalise on that and try and kick a bigger score than the Pimpernaya boys and have a win.
I reckon at Rainbow you will have that. There'll be a lot of moisture in the Rainbow, but it's a dunking machine that's going to be what's going to be that moisture. And Weary, good luck with not freezing to death on Saturday night.
No worries. Thanks very much.